The Netherlands is a country known for its liberal stance on various, sometimes controversial, ethical and social issues, ranging from same-sex marriage, euthanasia, gambling, the sale and use of cannabis to prostitution. All of these have been legalised and brought into the open by the Dutch. Amsterdam's Old Town, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is home to Wallen, a small neighbourhood characterised by traditional narrow gabled houses lining both sides of a canal. At the end of the street stands a 13th century stone church. During the day, the neighbourhood exudes a relaxing and peaceful atmosphere, much the same as other parts of the city. As the sun begins to set, however, the shops along the canal are gradually illuminated, turning on their lights one by one until they're fully lit. The red neon lights reflect off the surface of the canal, casting a bright and dazzling pink hue. These red lights are the origin of the name Red Light District, the world-famous description of that part of a town or city where sex is offered for a fee. Sandra, a woman in her early 20s, sets out to work as usual. Her workplace, simply known as the window, is a small square room with 3 solid walls and a prominent glass frontage, allowing passers-by to peer inside. There, she offers her services as a sex worker. Sandra settles in, crossing her legs, a knowing smile playing on her lips as she scans the street, hoping to catch the eye of a potential client.
I'm 23 years and I do this job 2 years. And before I was housekeeping in a hotel and I was babysitting and I was only school, do a little bit HoReCa, and then I start this job.
Why you decided to do this job?
I see by friends of me do also this job. About the money, and it's easy to make this money, and when you're most hard to work and you have only, in this time I had only 6 hours of €6 by 1 hour, and it's really hard to work, and then I want to start this work.
Sex work is one of the oldest professions in the world. In the Netherlands, sex work has been legalised and regulated since 2000. According to Dutch law, sex workers are classified as self-employed. They're allowed to advertise their services in print and online publications. Sex workers in the Netherlands must hold a license to work and pay taxes. It is recognised as a legitimate profession, just like any other.
Is this Marsden office?
Hey,
Hello, good evening.
How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good, thank you.
How are
Thank you
you?
for your time, I'm fine.
It's okay.
It's quite cold today.
Yeah, it's not a good weather as we expected actually, to be honest, but okay.
It's not raining, it's good.
Yeah, that's already something.
So this is your office.
This is the office.
Can I put my stuff here?
Yes, of course.
So are you busy today?
We're always busy.
Really?
In the time that the girls are coming in and out, yes, then it's always busy.
So the girl is start arriving around
8 o'clock in the evening?
8 o'clock, which is a night shift.
Yes, the night shift starts at 8. Depending on the time of the year actually, because when it is light they start often a little bit later because it's too light.
Right, right.
But,
So this is approaching summer, so it's a little bit late.
yeah.
So what is the procedure?
When the girls come in, we have to check their papers. That's needed by the government. So what we do is to check their ID.
Right.
We scan their ID here and they put a signature under it. So we know that they were that day, they were here.
Right.
And of course they have to pay the room then. And then they get a key and then they go.
Okay.
So it's quite simple.
So, but the process and procedure is strict because we have to report to the authority,
Yes.
right? All the checking and everything.
Yes. Yeah, besides that you check the ID, you also check, so now and then you check the Chamber of Commerce papers, if they're still available, they're still okay. Yeah, and that's actually all that you can do at this moment.
Oh, okay. It's very easy.
It's easy.
I mean, the
It's
process
easy.
is easy.
The process is luckily easy.
So how many girls are coming today?
I hope completely full, so that means 27. But that's,
27.
I think 24 today.
Is there any day that is not full?
Yes. If you look to Monday, Tuesday, that's most of the time not completely full.
Right.
And then it starts. So Thursday, it starts getting up, and it goes down again on Saturday. So Sunday also, most of the time there are some rooms free.
For over 600 years, De Wallen has been a destination for adult entertainment. It is home to brothels, restaurants and bars. Even today, De Wallen's role remains virtually unchanged despite the passage of time. Within this 1,810 square metre legally defined area, approximately 370 window brothels operate. As many as 1,200 sex workers of various nationalities rotate in and out of work, dividing into 2 shifts, day and night. In the Netherlands, there are an estimated 25,000 sex workers. The majority come from Eastern Europe, Africa and Asia, with Dutch workers constituting only around 5%. These window brothels, with their transparent glass facades, allowing passers-by a view of women offering sexual services, have a long history which is closely tied to De Wallen. In the past, those offering sexual services typically operated in their homes, using windows to display themselves and attract potential clients. This practice explains why windows became the defining feature of De Wallen's brothels.
We got a big ban on brothels. So brothels were no longer allowed. All brothels were closed. Because they believed it was, the suppressing of women and the objectifying women and things like that. So there was a big ban on brothels. And this went well for, a while, you put that in perspective. There was more and more complaints on how unsafe the streets were getting because prostitution, and you can see this throughout the centuries, you can ban it, but you can't get rid of it. It finds a way. So with the ban, it helped, or it created that the women would work out in the street, which was creating really unsafe and bad situations in the streets. So people were complaining about this, and that is when the police started to tolerate women working from their own homes in their own windows.
Why window?
Because they lived there. They lived here around the church. They had a little house or a little place. And in the window, you could so you were not out in the street standing there. No, you were sitting well dressed in the windows, knitting or having a cup of tea.
Feel safe at home.
But also it was off the street. So you were inside and you were getting customers inside your house. So you were taking it off the street somewhere inside, which meant that the streets became safer and at least less crowded, less rowdy. So slowly but surely that progressed into what you see today in the window prostitution.
Although the sex trade was once plied through the windows of private homes, today it operates in small rooms within designated zones. The basic concept of window display remains, however, unchanged. This embodies a unique characteristic of the Dutch, their adept fusion of tradition with modernity. For instance, their architectural renovations preserve the historic charm of the building exteriors, while the interiors are modernized for contemporary living. The sex industry here involves window landlords who divide a rented property into small rooms and then sublet the spaces to sex workers. To operate legally, window tenants must register their business, obtain a license and pay taxes. The window rent varies depending on the operating hours and the window's location.
One window.
Yes.
How much?
You have to pay for one shift for renting.
For the women, you mean?
Yeah.
Now they rent it per day shift or night shift, and that depending on all the offices have different prices. For instance, here it's €100 in the daytime and 175 in the nighttime, and that's the average,
Right.
to be honest.
And for many hours that day?
In the daytime, the day shift is from 10 in the morning till 8 in the evening, and the night shift is from 8 in the evening till 5 in the morning.
This compact 2 square metre room is equipped with a chair and a small stand for placing beverages.
So when the customer come in, they will negotiate
The price, yes.
the price, the deal,
Yeah.
and then what happens?
And then they can go to the room, and here's one of the rooms.
Okay, can I see
I will
inside?
show you, yes, of course.
Thank you.
Come inside.
Quite big.
Yeah, so this is to be honest, this is one really nice room.
Yeah.
Most of them are not so nice as this ones. Now you can, what you see here is you have a bed, of course a bed.
Right.
You have paper that they can put on the bed so it's more hygiene.
So this one is
Yeah.
for putting on the bed?
Yeah, they can put it on, like a massage table, yeah, remember? We have here, if the girl becomes into trouble, then she can warn us, and then we got it on our telephone if they push this button.
Ah.
And all the people that are working from our company are coming then.
So this is very important.
That's
If
very
things
important,
go wrong,
yes.
the
Then they
girl
can
ask for
push
help.
it, yes, and they can ask for help.
The law requires sex workers to be 21 or older and to undergo an annual health examination as a disease control measure. Clients and sex workers must always use condoms to protect both parties' health. Additionally, the law protects sex workers from practices that go beyond their consent, such as physical assault or other crimes. The legalization of sex work in the Netherlands has, however, not been without its challenges and drawbacks, just like any other social issue that has both supporters and opponents. While over 80% of the population supports the law, there remains a minority who oppose it, and their voices cannot be ignored. In 2008, an effort to reduce the number of prostitution zones in Amsterdam, called Project 1012, began. The city purchased old buildings in the De Wallen area, which used to be venues for prostitution, and transformed them into cafes and shops. Project 1012 aimed to tackle criminal gangs and improve the image of the historic city centre by paying high prices for buildings in this area, incentivising many building owners to sell their properties. As a result, 115 out of 500 window brothels closed down. In response, the Sex Workers Union, consisting of both male and female members, staged a protest march.
A lot of windows have been closed down. We basically need access to the law. And in the Netherlands, you can only have access to the law when you work in a licensed place. And the places here are licensed. So if you close down these places, people will go work unlicensed and therefore will not have access to police or law or their rights.
The argument led by the Sex Workers Union was that closing down the legal sex trade would increase exploitation. Sex workers would be forced to operate in hidden locations, making it difficult for labour and public health officials to reach them. This violates the workplace safety rights of those working in the sex trade. Ultimately, this strong opposition eventually led the city to end the project.
I think sex work will always exist, and the red light district might turn out to be not as profitable anymore for people to work, but as long as there are people working in windows, they're making money, because if you're not making money, you can't work here.
Due to the highly competitive nature of the sex industry, sex workers employ various strategies to attract clients. Most of them choose to wear revealing clothing to stand out, reflecting different personas and styles. The service fees often depend on additional services and negotiation. Generally, the average price of service is between $43 and $53 for a duration of 15 to 20 minutes. Once the price is agreed, the curtain will be drawn to cover the front window, serving as a way of indicating that the occupant of this window brothel is working.
I take tourists and I take also the Dutch people. When people are aggressive, then yeah, I push the alarm and then can come the office. And when it is a big problem, then come the police.
Is that ever happened? Can you tell me?
I mean, not so much, maybe 1 time or 2 times.
Amsterdam is a small capital city with a population of around 800,000 people. But the number of tourists visiting the city exceeded 20 million in 2023. One of the popular attractions for tourists is the De Wallen district. On weekends and holidays, it can get especially crowded here. Though sex work is legal and regulated here, taking photographs of sex workers is strictly prohibited.
Do not take any pictures in the neighborhood. Don't go around with your camera going click, click, click. Don't, no. You want to have
no photo.
You can look, but no photos. So people don't like that. Also, nobody wants to pop up on a website somewhere. That is just, I also think it's very disrespectful. I wouldn't like it either.
CCTV cameras are installed along the streets of De Wallen to monitor safety in public spaces. This includes deterring photography of sex workers, as it can be intrusive and a violation of their privacy. Sex workers deserve respect, and taking unauthorized pictures can amount to harassment.
There is a big stigma. On the one hand, there's tourists who have no idea what's going on and are very mean and rude and will approach sex workers with disgust. That's horrible. We humans know how it feels to be met with unfriendliness. That's not nice. And on the other hand, tourists here walk around like it's a zoo, taking pictures.
Not all tourists visiting De Wallen are seeking sexual services, though. A considerable number are drawn simply to experience the atmosphere of the open sex trade. These tourists stroll by, gazing at the sex workers in the windows, as if they're window shopping for a product, each harbouring different perspectives and emotions. Observing from behind the glass in window brothels, one can spot various types of visitors, such as Asian tour groups, British men on bachelor parties, and tourists from the Middle East. While some tourists look at the sex workers behind the window with curiosity, many female pedestrians appear uncomfortable and tend to avert their gaze. Unfortunately, a few teenagers resort to shouting, some behaving disrespectfully.
Ice these guys with bananas. Oh, it's too much! Too expensive!
The tourists stare at us, some out of curiosity, others with a desire to see something unusual. Some with surprise, some with excitement, and still others with scorn.
So, how do you like it?
It's not really what I thought earlier. I thought that I would be a little bit like, embarrassed. Actually, not really.
No,
It's funny, you somehow you feel empowered. Somehow you feel that you are in control. You look outside, you see the outside world, and you know that they don't understand you, but you understand yourself. You know what you're doing.
Legalizing prostitution is often viewed as undermining moral values. Yet, in this country, it's not considered a crime, as long as the sex worker acts without coercion. This approach, the Dutch model, acknowledges the reality that acceptance enables safer practices. It prioritizes respect for individuals' rights and offers regulated options, trusting people's judgment to make informed decisions.
So the idea that people can do this job voluntarily because they think it's a good job, or because they think the money is good, or because they have no problems with working with their own sexuality, is very, very strange to people still. People are still really shocked by this.
Even for Dutch?
Even the Dutch, trust me, even the Dutch. Also, because now in the media it's getting more and more how everybody is forced and everybody is a victim. My feminist heart is really, really getting very angry that I think, oh, so a woman can't make a choice to do this? Really? Why not?
If you want to see more great content from all over the world, please like the video, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.
In 2021, Femke Halsema, the mayor of Amsterdam, proposed relocating De Wallen to a new 5,000 square metre facility called the Erotic Centre. It envisions 100 rooms, 2 bars and adult entertainment such as a strip club. The plan aims to downsize the red light district to improve the image of the De Wallen area, eliminate crime and behaviours that cause a nuisance in the city, all while improving the quality of life for sex workers. The plan has faced heavy opposition from Amsterdam residents, worried about the potential impact on their own neighbourhoods, particularly a rise in crime and other disruption if the red light district is relocated closer to them. Additionally, sex workers and supportive groups in Amsterdam have voiced their objections to the Erotic Centre, with a protest held in 2023. The protesters believe the plans would put sex workers at greater risk and impact their earnings. Some masked protesters carried signs with slogans like "No red light without sex work" and "If sex workers are not to blame, then why are we being punished?" They argue that the city's problems stem from the overwhelming number of tourists, a situation they feel the government has difficulty controlling.
De Wallen is bij uitstek de veiligste en meest zelfstandige.
Lucy, a sex worker and protester, explains that the red light district provides the safest and most autonomous working environment because it's highly organized and secure. She also notes that if there's a genuine desire to uplift the status of sex workers, the first step should be listening to their voices. The efforts to reduce the number of window brothels and to relocate sex services away from the De Wallen area have been going on for years, garnering both support and opposition.
Raamvoordelen in ieder geval in aantal te verminderen.
Mariska Majour, a former sex worker, explains that the protest against the closure of the window brothels has been going on for 16 years. Authorities initially planned to reduce the number of brothels as early as 2007, citing the fight against human trafficking and abuse. Now, the focus has shifted to combating mass tourism. Despite strong opposition, the Mayor of Amsterdam continues to advocate for the relocation of sex services from the De Wallen district. On December 18, 2023, officials unveiled a significant development, a designated area on Europa Boulevard in Amsterdam South, earmarked for the Erotic Centre. The plan is expected to be presented to the City Council this year, with construction scheduled for completion within the next 7 years. Will De Wallen and its iconic red lights and historic window brothels remain a fixture of Amsterdam? Or will it be transformed, fade away, and become nothing more than a line in the history books? The answers may come sooner than we think. Despite the uncertain future of the district, the Netherlands' approach to sex work, whether in support or opposition, ultimately reflects a common principle embodied in the inscription found in De Wallen. Respect sex workers all over the world.